start the meeting. This is the Public Defender Board of Trustees meeting for July 23rd at 12:30. Will Kathy please call the roll?
Yes, Your Honor. Chief Justice Robert Torres.
He'll be coming in later.
Presiding Judge Alberto C. Lamarena III.
Present.
Guam Bar President Jackie Terlahi.
She's excused.
Trustee Donna Muña Canata.
I'm present here at East Agana.
And Trustee Dr. Christiana Whitman.
Present.
Okay.
And I am present, but I will be joining the meeting via video in a few minutes.
Okay, so we do have a quorum. Do I hear a motion to approve the minutes of the last meeting subject to correction?
Motioned.
Okay,
May I share some information with the board? On the agenda, there is a typo here under the notice for 48 hours. It says Friday, July 23rd. It should read July 19th, but please be assured it did run on the post as well as on the public notices portal on July 19th.
okay, so that there is public notice of the meeting today on the post, okay? Do I hear a motion to approve the minutes subject to correction of the last meeting? I think I
Motion.
hear, okay, member Donna Kanata makes the motion. Do I hear a second?
I second.
Okay, Dr. Whitman seconds it. All those approve, say aye.
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 And anybody, no objections? Okay, it's unanimously approved. Okay, we'll go to the meetings. We'll go to old business now, and the first one will be Steve. Can you please give your report, please?
Oh, sure, presiding. So basically, we submitted our year-to-date, our actual active caseload as of June 30, 2024. We have 1,242 active cases that are pre-judgment. We have another 808 that are pre-judgment bench warrants. And then we have 2,647 that are post-judgment. So these guys are all on probation, or their cases, some of them, their cases may actually be closed. And then an additional 903 who are post-judgment with outstanding bench warrants. So altogether, we have about 5,600 cases that are not closed in the office. And, you know, we had a little chart down here, monthly comparison by year. It shows that our filings are down. We opened 87 cases this June. Last June, we opened 132. We have noted that there is a greater, there are just fewer cases being charged this this year actually, especially in misdemeanors. Most of the cases being charged with felonies. And in June, we closed 70. So most of those 70 are closed because they successfully completed probation, DUI court, family violence court, and drug court. And we really, there 6 were closed due to conflict. Just in June, 4 were closed due to income exceeded. When they come in and they exceed our guidelines, and we move to withdraw. And then there was only 1 substitution of counsel. Right, and then the other chart I wanted to share is, you know, with our, as far as electronic monitoring, we are developing standards so that Abacus, our case management system, can track it. This number of 155 really was compiled by our investigator, Chief Investigator Robbie Call. This is all time since the program started, but this year they've we have submitted 69 EM packets, and we received approximately 45 declarations from probation. There are some declarations we don't receive, so that would explain the disparity. My understanding is that there are 83 defendants currently on electronic monitoring release. And so really, you know, if you have questions for Mr. Chief Call, we obviously want all our clients to be released. So that's pretty much part of their standard operating procedure. Once an individual is, a case opens the next day, it's assigned to an attorney. If he's detained, an email goes out to the lawyer, the secretary, and the investigator, identifying this particular client as detained, and it triggers, responses by each of the divisions. Our investigation responses to start a third party / EM interview. And so we are really trying to increase the number of people released on electronic monitoring, especially given the current state of the Department of Corrections, right? There's like last count, there was like 940 people in jail. I would say 2 years ago, there were like 620. So, I mean, it's a market increase in the number of people being held. And so basically, those are our active cases. And so that goes as far as our stats. The other things we wanted to indicate, we're working on advocates to track these things. We've reached out to the criminal case manager regarding the timely hearing of bail motions. And so we're waiting. She indicated that we should meet with the clerk of the court to discuss that issue. So we're going to be doing that soon. And other than that, we're hoping to announce the administrative director opening hopefully by this Friday, running for 30 days. And, we might ask the court to assist us with the rating. They did do the ratings for us the last time this position was announced due to the interest of in-house applicants. So we'll reach out to the court, see if they could help us again with that.
Okay.
Right,
And we'd be happy to assist. I kind of have alerted HR that might be a possibility. So we'd be more than happy to do that.
Okay, great, because I reached out to Barbara Jean and she hasn't replied, but I don't know if she's on island, so. But I appreciate that, Your Honor.
She's on vacation now, but
Oh.
I did discuss the potential for that occurring. So we'll be able to provide the logistical support for that.
Okay, great. The last time there were 21 applicants, so we might see the same number this time. I don't have anything else to add. And Mike's here to present our financial status, if you want him to go into that.
Yes, I forgot that. Can Mike present the financial updates?
Yes, Your Honor. Good afternoon, Board of Trustees. PDSC received a total of $605,602 after the last board meeting, which brings both PDSC and APD at 97%. Next is the ICJR funding. As of June 30th, 2024, expenses were $136,596 for personnel and $22,445 for travel, supplies, and equipment. The balances were at $25,506 for personnel costs and $1,448 for operations. This funding will be used until such time as Stop 2022 is appropriated to us by the Governor's Office. Stop 21 was closed this month at $24,418. Next, we go on to the Elder Justice Center. Invoices for February through June 2024 for a total of $80,023 were submitted to DPHSS, but we have not received the payments as of today. Additionally, Fiscal and EJC are still waiting for a signed copy of the MOU from DPHSS for this funding. Next is JAG, the Access to Counsel. A quarterly report has been issued this month indicating that the entire grant of $26,658 were expended. And that was the end of the JAG grant. The last is WestCare, the legal service for veterans. PDSC has submitted an invoice for June 2024 this month, totaling $1,242, and payment has not been received. Payments for the other invoices, 1 through 4, has been received. That's all for the financials.
Okay, any questions of Mike from the board members? Okay, so we'll hear from Attorney Gail, APD Managing Director. Attorney Gail?
Hi, Your Honor. Thank you. So we have our third quarter report and 2024 calendar year to date. We have 84 felonies. We were able to get 24 misdemeanors, 29 juvenile and juvenile pins. So for the third quarter, we had 142 cases, and to date, we had 273 cases, but total with the 142 is 391 cases. There's really, I mean, the stats have just shown that I agree with what Mr. Hattori said, that they're just not filing as many misdemeanors as they have in the past. So we're getting a lot more felonies. I'm noticing a lot more felonies this last year or current year. As far as, and then we did do the electronic monitoring program, Your Honor. I know you really wanted that included. We did just get it. I'm going to have to give you an oral report, and I'll submit the written stat, Your Honor. So
Okay, no problem.
we've completed 65 packets. 37 has been vetted for submittal. 16 of them, which are eligible, have been granted. 23 considered ineligible, and a total of 37 have been submitted. The problem, I think, it's not a problem, but the statistic on, I know you wanted when they get on EM and when they get off EM. It's just a matter of inputting that. It's going to take a little bit more to actually do that, because sometimes I go to court and I didn't realize that the magistrate had put them on EMP and we didn't apply specifically. It's what happens sometimes is at Maggies, the magistrate judge will just ask probation to go ahead and check for EMP during that hearing. So so we're kind of off on our stats in the sense that we probably don't have a correct or as accurate as we can be. We are working with the EMP probation office just to be in touch with them and see what their numbers are compared to our numbers. But what I would like to ask though is, and I think it should be, when we were doing all this, I was checking with another one of our attorneys in the office, Mr. Scott, and he is from Kentucky. And he said that in Kentucky, they don't have the free program that we have. And he's amazed at how many people don't take advantage of the EMP here. However, they do have in their statute, and I'll share it with you, I know Judge Lamarena would like to see this, how you can have post-judgment cases on EMP as well. So people can, after, on post-judgment, which you do, Your Honor, for the Veterans Court, but other cases, so instead of being in jail, they would be on EMP to serve out their sentence. But I think we need to change the statute to allow that. That's a side point. I apologize for bringing that up. But anyway, that's all I have for now. I don't know if you have any questions regarding our numbers up to date. Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay. Yeah, I agree with both consuls that the number of misdemeanors has fallen. I think they're just charging family violence misdemeanors, but the
Not
number
even that
of
many DUIs.
yeah, that's why we're concerned about a treatment court, DWI treatment court. But anyway, but the felonies are, I think, as of the last count, we have about 500 filed as of today. So we might be approaching 1,000 by the end of the year, huh? The way things are going, huh?
I agree.
Okay, any questions of Attorney Gale's report or Attorney Hattori's report from the board members? There
No
being none,
questions.
then we'll have Attorney Carol Sanchez report on the CLC.
Morning, good afternoon, everyone. So our numbers show a bit consistency in the TAC area, which is our advocacy, which is protective orders. We are getting more referrals from the Attorney General's office on all sorts of cases that are non-family violence or sexual assault. It's like criminal trespass, terrorizing cases. So they're referring them our way because they're not charging. So it kind of goes with what both APD and PD is talking about. They're not charging those cases, so they're sending them our way to obtain protective orders, but it doesn't fall under the scope of the TAC program that we have. As far as elder justice, we continue to hit between the 40, 50 areas. We are, again, just waiting to try to pilot remote clinics in the communities. That's the intentions of what we're gonna be doing, is going out into the different communities to provide the services out there. But the numbers are as fast as closing as well. So we open and close those cases as quickly as we can. You could see that the services we provide, although we have like open cases, like 138 examples for this quarter, of that number, we provided a total of 242 services. So some clients, so the 138 is really the amount of the persons that come into the office. And then when they come in, they seek multiple services. So you'll see the number of services at a higher number. And then of course, we have our Civil Law Center stats, which is the one on the top on this page. I'm sorry, on page 16. Page 16, those are most of them are like guardianship cases. These are cases that are mostly referred from CPS that are unsubstantiated cases where there's no abuse, but just a caretaker or guardian that doesn't have actual orders. And so we're providing that services. And then we've got to multiple court appointments on juvenile special proceedings cases. So if anyone has any questions on the stats, you can ask me.
Okay, Attorney Sanchez, I just want to know, do you know offhand how many referrals you receive from the Attorney General's office?
Yeah, I think we actually identify it in the third page.
Okay.
I mean, I'm sorry, page 18. So this one's showing we have 7, but then, so what happens is I know like they go to GPD, and then when we conduct, I need to talk to the staff so that when they're talking to us, because sometimes they're told to go back to GPD, and then they go back to GPD, and then GPD says that the AG's office isn't doing anything, so they're told to come to our office. But I can get a good capture of the stats, but we're showing 7 so far, but I think the number is higher than that.
Yeah, because I feel that, we were discussing the number of misdemeanor cases have fallen, that you may see a rise of referrals from the police or from the Attorney General's office from these cases. So I think we should start monitoring those cases to see if we see a significant increase, so we can address any concerns or issues that may arise from those referrals.
Yeah, so we have like 29 coming from GPD, which might also be there.
That's a lot, huh?
Yeah, and then the others, so sometimes we also have Barrel sending them our way or to Guam Legal Services. So yeah, that's a 29 from GPD and 7 from the AG's office, their victim service.
And how about from CPS? You said that CPS referred some people to you as well.
Yeah, so the bulk of our Civil Law Center cases, I need to get that. I need to make sure that we actually have it on the file, so I can give that number to at the next board meeting.
Yeah,
So we can track the amount that comes from CPS as well.
I'll appreciate that, because we didn't anticipate referrals from GPD and the Attorney General's office when we started this program. So that's out of left field. And it seems, so we got to start tracking those numbers, because if we see an increase, we should start addressing the situation. Maybe who can you talk to in the Attorney General? You could talk with Doug Moylan, right, at the Attorney General's office, to see if that's going to be their policy now, referring misdemeanor type cases to your office to
Yeah,
get
I can talk to
PROs?
that office as well. I know that they're, I've spoken, so what happens is even when our clients come here and I know there's an active or there's a police report, I actually call the victim services where especially where there's severe, there's like, there's actual like physical, I'll call the AG's office and have them follow up as to why they haven't, because what will happen is our client will tell us like they were called and told they weren't going to be charged and released. And so I'll contact the victim service center to make sure that they have the attorney, whoever's the prosecuting attorney, follow up. So I can give them a call. I mean, the example too is they actually called me over the weekend, like maybe 3 weeks ago. They had, I guess they contacted the police chief and the police chief called me at home and said that somebody from the AG's office wanted to talk to me because they wanted me to file a protective order on the weekend. So what happened was because we don't have that mechanism in place, what I did was I went over the online pro se forms and I had the advocate at the AG's office utilize the online pro se filing, and I told them to send them to my office on Monday so that I can enter appearance or do what I need to do to assist that victim. And then they didn't want to tell me any other status, like why they weren't charging it or whatever, but they wanted a civil protective order filed.
Okay, so we'll have to start keeping track now of these referrals. I think, especially from the Attorney General, the Guam Police, because as I said earlier, we didn't anticipate those referrals from them.
Okay.
We anticipated CPS maybe, but not those two agencies. So if we can start keeping track so that we can, if we see a rapid increase, because I think that's going to be their policy. I think you don't have to ask them what details are, but what is their policy now as far as these type of cases. So we can start making some adjustments, and maybe for the next year modify the budget to meet that need. Huh?
Okay.
Okay. Any questions of the Attorney Sanchez? Okay, there being none, what's next on the agenda? Kathy, can you put the agenda? Okay, thank you. We have report from the Executive Director on Compensation and Classification, Attorney Hattori.
Yeah, so Your Honor, we were just gonna propose that just be tabled, because I guess my evaluation's due. And so we want to do the evaluation first.
Okay. Okay, so any objections tabling that from the board members? Okay, there being none, we'll go now to the next topic, and that's the Sixth Amendment project. Attorney Hattori.
Okay, thank you. So, the Sixth Amendment Center, obviously all the board members received that report. It was really extensive, and so it identified ways that our office can improve, and so we're working on that. One of the findings was that we do not collect, analyze, or report on actual denial of counsel statistics. So our front office and the attorneys who cover magistrates do now, I guess they've been keeping staffs on temporary appointments. So right now, we actually, and I know APD does as well, we represent individuals who may be financially overqualified, but are unable to get an attorney while they're in jail. And so we'll get those stats added to the next report. But so we are tracking those numbers, and I was surprised that we were, but so our front will just note it, open and close the file almost immediately, and then some of them eventually do qualify, because if they stay in jail long enough, they lose their job, right? And then they financially qualify. So then they already have a file set up. Finding two about constructive denial of counsel can occur because a specific unconflicted attorney may not be assigned to represent a defendant for weeks or months after the defendant's arraignment. This one, I think that finding might actually be incorrect, just because pretty much everybody gets an attorney at arraignment. I think what he was referring to was the book and release defendants, the ones who are issued a notice to appear for felony. You won't get an attorney if they don't charge you officially with a crime until up to 3 years, right, for the statute of limitations. So we've contacted GPD about how we can notify individuals who are arrested and released with a notice to appear, that they can come to our office and seek services. Right now, some of them do come in, and so we showed on our stat as a kind of like a under a general like it's under a citation stat, and so we tend to meet with these individuals, let them know like, look, they got 3 years or 1 year to charge you. If the police call you for an interview, come see us and we'll make sure your rights are protected. But unfortunately, not everybody who's arrested and released comes to our office, so we're trying to work on something with GPD. We just need to send Steve Ignacio a letter. I've already talked with Ron Tecchino, who's kind of works in their legal department, and he says that we should be able to work something out. And so we're hoping that.
Can you hear me now, Steve?
Oh, yes, we can hear you.
Okay, I was trying to talk earlier and I guess you didn't, but I adjusted the audio setting. Were you able to get additional a proposal from the Sixth Amendment Center on proposed legislation on the setting up of a commission?
Oh, yes, so I'm in communication with Didi Goal, who's the deputy director there, and she wants us to schedule a Zoom meeting. And so we'll set something up with John, Annie, and Carol, and we might try to invite Hannah, who's I guess she's the de facto, she represents the private attorney panel group through court, and then we'll have a working group set up for that.
Okay.
So we'll try to set up a Zoom meeting in the next couple of weeks, and we could, if any board members want to get invited, let us know, and we'll make sure you guys get an invite. But it'll be like a work.
Yeah, I'd rather stay out of the process until the recommended statute comes and then provide comment, if any. I think it's
okay. And we've submitted like 4 different draft legislations, I think, to Sarah already. So I think we're in discussion, but we definitely need a working group, and we're gonna meet as a group with the Sixth Amendment Center to actually draft legislation for that. Okay, and then the next one is, we have these the adequate attorney qualification, training, and supervision standards. So, we've been kind of on the back burner. We have these performance standards we're trying to get out, and then but they're pretty much almost done. I'm gonna put together how other jurisdictions, we're doing a survey of how other jurisdictions classify attorneys based on actual experience and not just years of experience, right? So like in some jurisdictions, you have to have so many felony trials before you can move up to an attorney 3 or an attorney 4. But Guam is solely based on the years of experience. But because we are concerned about the effective representation of our indigent clients, I think we could create an additional requirements, right? Like I think John agrees, we will not let an attorney 1 handle a homicide or a first-degree CSC case. And so internally we have our own guidelines, but it's not related to the attorney pay statute, but I think that it's something that we could run along with the attorney pay statute. So when we interview attorneys to get promoted from an attorney 3 to an attorney 4, we have to be confident that as an attorney 4, they'll be able to handle any serious felony that comes in the door. But historically, you could become an attorney 4 just because you've been a lawyer for 8 years. And so we've gone away from just a pure attorney years of experience standard to one where years of experience plus your actual experience will affect the decision about promoting you up from a 3 to a 4. So, but we obviously we're going to do a survey, then we'll reduce it to a policy, and we'll present that to the board. But we're working on that internally. And then finding 4 courts practice of appointing non-panel attorneys. That's really not. I mean, that's more of a judicial issue. But we have, obviously, Mr. Morrison led training, and we, reach out and provide input to any attorneys that contact our office uh, that need additional assistance. Finding 5.6, Guam does not collect or analyze the necessary information to accurately determine caseloads or workloads of indigent defense system attorneys. I think both our office and APD, we do track our caseload, and now with the new standards that the ABA has adopted, it's going to take a little while to calculate caseloads based on the new workload standards. And so I, that's going to be a different group because that's going to require a little work. But fortunately, we already identify serious felonies from like the CSC, life without parole cases, from just regular run-of-the-mill low degree, third degree felonies like possession, which requires fewer hours than obviously a first degree CSC, right? And so I think we're going to be able to start converting or explaining each attorney's caseload based on workload standards. It's going to take a little while, but we'll be working along that along the way. I don't think we'll really need technical assistance. We'll just adopt the standards that. I mean, it was like a nationwide study, and it was very detailed. And as a starting point, we could rely on their results rather than reinventing that particular wheel. And then, okay, we already discussed the legislation regarding the structural issues regarding the criminal indigent system. I think really it's going to boil down to funding, but if you look under, the Guam code, right, it specifically states that if the PDSC has to withdraw due to a conflict, then you can tap on the general fund, right, to pay for. So we'll have to work on a budget for that when we obviously when we create the Indigent Defense Commission, they're going to have a budget, and we'll have a plan for all that. Right, the notice to appears, we already discussed that. The financial eligibility guidelines, we did a survey last year where we asked not only about raising the rates of the using the more up-to-date income guidelines, but there were also a bunch of different guidelines, like should you consider the income of the entire household? Like, for example, if you're should the victim's income be calculated in a family violence case, right? And so we have a bunch of different roles that we're putting together. It was submitted to the Guam Bar for a survey, and we have those results. I mean, that's from last year, so we should be able to compile something. And these would be additional guidelines for the magistrate's judge to use, because sometimes there's a gray area, right? They kind of almost qualify, and then they have to go through the separate additional analysis of like, can they afford a retainer? They might be $2 or $3 above the cap, right? But then, to hire an attorney on a misdemeanor, you need anywhere between 5,000 or 7,000 in the bank to be able to have an attorney. And so those are additional guidelines we're working on. Right, and then the final one was that third conflict panel. We had discussed that there's kind of space is really an issue. I mean, we have the Civil Law Center, and they're taking on a lot of cases, and in addition to the protective orders, I think they're handling PINS related cases as well. So, but we are, that third conflict panel idea is something that we have to work out, maybe make it part of the Indigent Defense Commission. So if we create something like that, it would be part of that overall legislation. And I
All
don't
right,
have
thank
anything
you.
to add, but I'm going to prioritize these, and then we'll develop a schedule over the course of the year to tackle all of them, because obviously, we have to eliminate them one at a time.
Yeah, and we'll keep this on the agenda. You don't have to report on everything, but you can report on the progress made of the different projects that you have, and also give us a priority list that you think in terms of what you want to, how you want to proceed, and which ones will be prioritized over others.
All right, and I'm working, obviously with John and Annie, because she's the head of APD, as well as Carol when it involves the Civil Law Center. So it'll be like a joint project amongst us.
Any questions from Steve on the Sixth Amendment Center projects and proposals? And presiding judge, thank you for carrying the meeting until I was able to get to a computer with a video. I was on the meeting, but just on a hand phone, and wasn't conducive to turning on the video, but appreciate you stepping
Okay,
in.
you're welcome, Mr. Chairman, anytime. I'd just like to follow up on the citation. Do you know the amount of notice of citation to appear on the misdemeanor and felony cases?
So I did email, I spoke with Ron Titano, and they're actually starting to see, but he doesn't have those stats as of yet, so I'll try to get those numbers. I don't want to have to FOIA it, but, because, those are irritating, but I think they're cooperative and they'll let us know. Because, we see a lot of, so every day we get a list of everybody who's been booked and confined, but then several of them every day are released with a notice to appear. And so we have those documents, we get them generally daily, but I'll find out from GPD how many notice to appears
And you can give us a running number, like every 2 months or something, so that we can keep track of those.
Yeah, because eventually they're gonna get charged, and it's just that really the total number of cases charged now is probably like 100, at least 100 fewer than there were last year. But they're mostly felonies though. So I think the presiding judge is right. We're gonna start seeing more advocacy center protective orders in lieu of criminal prosecutions.
And that was highly unanticipated. Okay, I have no other questions, Mr. Chairman.
All right, thank you, presiding judge. We'll now move to the next item, which we would like to go into executive session. So can I entertain a motion to recess from the regular meeting to go into executive session to discuss the executive director's performance evaluation and APD's managing attorney performance evaluations. Catherine,
Motion,
do you have breakout rooms set up?
Yes.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay.
motion to recess?
All right, there's a motion by trustee Kanata. Is there a second?
I second it.
Seconded by presiding judge. All those in favor, aye.
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 There being no objection, we will now recess from the regular meeting and convene in the executive session and then return to regular session when we adjourn the executive session. So let's go into executive session into the meeting rooms, and we'll be discussing the performance evaluations for the executive director and the managing attorney.
Your Honor, may we confirm who you would like to be in attendance from the team here?
Oh, he's joining the.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they'll just be in,
Oh,
I guess
okay.
they'll just be in the Zoom room by themselves, and then when they want that.
I guess I'll just log in just in case.
Oh, yeah, maybe log in and ask him, that way. See if he wants John to the. Oh, the parameters. He does, yeah. We can talk about that.
I'm like, I'm not supposed to be in here.
I know. I know, that's why I'm texting them. I'm like, I think they want you in room
I
1.
know. Okay.
Okay, so do we get out of here?
Just stay on, but turn off your, because they're gonna go back into session.
Okay, thanks.
You left the meeting room, right? Yeah, that's our regular meeting.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
All right, we're just waiting for the other members of the other trustees of the Public Defender Service Corporation to return. We have 3 of the 4 members who were present at the meeting back on. Presiding
Can you
judge.
see me?
Yes, I can see you, Trustee
Okay.
Kanata. We do not have the presiding judge back on with us, but we still are maintaining a quorum. And so to report back from executive session, we're just examining the past performance evaluations of the executive directors and managing attorneys, and also discussed some issues concerning employee grievances and complaints. And we're now back in regular session, and I'll recognize you, Trustee Kanata.
Yes, Your Honor, CJ, if we can I get a motion put on to add grievances and complaints under the executive manager's meeting?
Yeah, there's a motion by Trustee Kanata to add as an agenda item for the next meeting under executive session, employee grievances
And complaints?
Is there a second to that motion?
I second.
All right, it's been moved by Trustee Kanata, seconded by Trustee Whitman. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
There being no objection, that will be added to the agenda along with the continued business of the executive director and employee managing attorneys evaluations at the next meeting. Can I entertain a motion to adjourn now the regular meeting?
Motion to adjourn, please.
Second?
I second.
All right, there being no objection, we still are maintaining a quorum with 3 out of the 5 members present. Presiding judge must not have gotten back from the breakout room, but we still can do that. Public defender, there being no objection, will now stand adjourned. Thank you, everyone.
Have a good one.